Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking. That is my Chanel medium large in the black caviar leather with the silver hardware. And as you can see, I had my handsome boy, Mr. Monsieur Edward Phillip, here with us. Right, my love? You want to say hi? You want to say hi, baby? You want to say hello? No. I'm going to film my video. All right, my love. Anyways, he wants to say hello, but oh dear. All right, so now Edward is hanging out behind me. I'm sure he will pop up throughout the video to say hello. Okay, so let's get started with the very first question, shall we? From NG's Evidence. After thinking I'd never use a Neverfull, I've convinced myself that I, in fact, need one. But I'm torn on whether to purchase a monogram or a Damier Ebene. Being 5'8" and curvy, I know I definitely want a GM. However, I can't decide if I want to deal with the wrinkling/creasing of the treated Damier Ebene leather or deal with all that comes with untreated Vachetta. For reference, my humble collection of handbags consists of an artsy MM, an Eva in Damier Ebene, and a favorite MM in Damier Azur. Your thoughts? P.S. You have taught me so much, and I really thank you. Hashtag Minnie should upload daily. You are so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm glad I've been able to help. Okay, so this is a fantastic question, and it's really hard, right? Because you like both, and you have to think of which bag will definitely suit your lifestyle the best. If you have the type of weather where you live, where let's say it's maybe not the friendliest, I'll put it that way. So maybe it rains a lot or it snows a lot and you still want to get a lot of use out of your handbag, then I highly suggest the Damier Ebene, because in a sense I feel that that bag is almost weatherproof, you know, and it's very carefree. You don't have to worry about it. When it comes to the monogram, even though I feel that the handles are a lot softer on the monogram versus the Damier Ebene one, if you don't want to deal with the patina, if you don't want to deal with water stains or anything like that, then I think that the Damier Ebene is the better option. But if neither of those bother you and you want something a little bit more comfortable, then I highly suggest the monogram. However, it's all a matter of personal preference and what it is that suits your lifestyle the best. You know, it's always difficult, especially when we make up our mind of what type of bag we want. You know, we think of, okay, now this is the bag, now I have to figure out which print or type of hardware or what type of leather you want to get, and you know, etc. But you know, if you want something that you can use more so year round, unless you live somewhere where it's incredibly sunny, you know, throughout the year, then I feel that the Damier Ebene is always a better option. And again, I feel that this one isn't as comfortable as the monogram, as you know, it tends to be a little bit more stiff. It tends to dig into your shoulder a little bit more than the monogram does, because the handles on the monogram one tend to get very soft over time. But it's all a matter of personal preference, and you really have to outweigh what it is that you need in your lifestyle. So, you know, you have to think of, I like to think of everything. I like to think of the weather. I like to think of, you know, how I want something that I don't want to have to think about, something that I definitely don't want to baby, then the Damier Ebene is the better option. But if you want that beautiful patina, if you want, you know, if you want softer handles, then the monogram would be a better option. So it's all a matter of which one suits you better. Okay, Rachel W. With the resale value being so great on classic Louis Vuittons, do you recommend buyers purchase classic new rather than used? This is another great question. And honestly, I think that it's either or. Whether you purchase it brand new, I think that you will still end up getting what you paid for, if not a little bit, or close to what you paid for if you were to resell a classic. You know, obviously it all depends on the condition, but whether you buy it brand new or whether you buy it pre-loved, regardless of what you paid, I feel that you'll end up getting close to what you purchased, if not what you purchased for the item. So I always think that, as you said, classics always have the best resale value for Louis Vuitton. So if you want something that's going to last a little bit longer, or something that's going to hold its resale value a lot better throughout the years, then classic is always the best way to go. But definitely, it doesn't matter which one you go, whether you go for new or pre-loved. I think that you'll end up making your money back without an issue. Okay. Celeste. So I recently ran into a Louis Vuitton group on Facebook, and I've noticed a lot of ladies paint or dye their Vachetta. I was so hurt to see that, laughing out loud. I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Is it something that popular? Would you ever do that, or have you thought about it? And I have seen a few of these. I haven't been on Facebook in quite some time now, but I have seen some people post it on Instagram. And the way that I feel about it, I really, you know, I kind of like it, because in a sense it's going one step further into personalizing the bag how you want it. And another thing that I really like about it is, let's say that the bag is extremely important to you. Let's say it's very, very special. It holds a lot of sentimental value to you. And let's say you don't want to get it repaired, or maybe you just don't want to get rid of it. And if you want to paint the Vachetta, you can do that. So I think it's a fun way to be able to personalize your handbags. Would I ever think about doing it? I don't know, to be honest. Especially because my Azure never full. I've told you guys, I think I'd get pennies for it because I feel that it's so worn out, you know, and maybe that's something that I would want to do that to the handbag. I probably wouldn't end up getting repaired. I probably wouldn't, not repaired. I wouldn't get it, the handles replaced. But I think it would be kind of fun, especially with an older piece. Again, something that you don't want to have to get repaired, something that holds sentimental value to you, and maybe something that you want to try out. I think it's fun. Sure, why not? Would I do that with a brand new handbag? No. I would definitely do that with an older one. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. Madison Party. What pieces of packaging for Louis Vuitton packaging are important to keep if you are concerned about resale in the future? The boxes / bags take up a lot of space, so is just keeping the dust bags and receipts important? This is a fantastic, fantastic question. And obviously, most of you know that I tend to resell Louis Vuitton items, and I've gotten a little bit of both. I've gotten some handbags and SLGs that don't have anything, you know, no dust bag, no box, no receipts, and then I've gotten some that have everything included. And I can tell you that as far as, you know, what I have seen, that I feel that the more items you have to include in your sale, so if you have as much of the original packaging, as much of the original items that when you got the item, those tend to sell the fastest, and they tend to attract more buyers, because you have to look at it from a buyer's perspective. If you want to buy something pre-loved, obviously the more that they have to offer, the better you feel about what it is that you're purchasing. And you know, I think that I feel it's almost like you're getting a better deal than you would at the boutique, but yet you have everything, if that makes any sense. You know, so definitely keeping as much of the original packaging as possible is very, very key. But again, if you don't have the space to be able to keep the boxes, to be able to keep the bags, then I strongly suggest keeping the dust bags and the receipts 100%. You know, but it's all a matter, it's really up to the buyer, because as I told you guys before, I've gotten some that don't have anything, and those sell as well, but I feel that I get more interest in items that come with everything included. So I highly suggest keeping as much of the original as possible. Okay, Nina OV. I have a question for next Monday. Did you sell your white monogram multicolor Speedy, and why? This is another great question, and I did. I know a lot of you guys are probably giving me the evil eye. I know, you know, but I did sell it. And, you know, it's not because I didn't try to use it. I really did. You know, I was so excited about that handbag. I was able to purchase it when I was in Paris. It had such a special meaning to me. You know, it was my holy grail Louis Vuitton item, but I could not bring myself to use it. I couldn't. And I had it up on my shelf for a year and a few months. And I loved it. It was a beautiful piece of art, but I just knew I didn't want to use it, and I couldn't use it because I was just it was almost like surreal. You know, it was surreal that I was able to acquire the bag, and it was actually in my possession, you know, and I definitely gave it a lot of importance, and I couldn't bring myself to use it. I couldn't, you know, and when I sold it, I sold it to, there's a wonderful, fantastic story behind who purchased it. And when all that went down, that made it that made it even better, because the person who purchased it really wanted the handbag. They wanted to use the handbag, and it was their holy grail handbag. And you know, there's obviously a lot more to the story, but it was I had such a great feeling from who purchased it and how excited they were. And it made me feel so good that I was able to help them find their holy grail bag, you know. And again, I've told you guys before, I don't have the luxury of being able to keep my handbag just sitting there. And I had it for over a year untouched. I think I took it out of the dust bag twice when I wanted to take pictures of it, but I couldn't use it. I couldn't, you know, and I was able to put that money towards my Celine, and I love my Celine. I use my Celine, and that's, you know, I enjoy both bags. I loved the Speedy 30 multicolor. Again, it was my holy grail, but I didn't want anything to happen in that handbag. I didn't want to see the patina. I didn't want to see a single scratch on it. So if I'm going to treat a bag like a piece of art that it was, again, I wish I wish I was able to do that, but I can't, you know, and I am able to say I had my holy grail bag. It makes me happy, you know, but again, there's no way. I didn't want to use it. I didn't want to ruin it. And the person that purchased it was just over the moon. They were so excited. They were so happy. And that brought me joy. That's what really, it just put the cherry on top of the sundae, if that makes any sense. So I did sell it. And do I have any regrets? I don't. Not a single one, because I know who's enjoying it. I know that they're loving it. And if I couldn't do that, why not someone else? You know what I mean? So yes, she is gone. But I do have a picture of her in my phone. Okay, Yolanda Dalton. Do you have any Chanel costume jewelry? I'm thinking about getting the double CC earrings. Just wanted to know your thoughts. I do. And I'm actually missing a pair here. It's back on the shelf over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a total of 7 Chanel earrings. These were a beautiful gift, and these were a gift from my hubby as well. And I'm thinking about doing a Are They Worth It video, because I do love them. I am a sucker for, especially the studs. The studs I'm obsessed with. I mostly am a stud girl anyways, but check out the wear on there. I don't know if you guys can see them. They're missing a whole bunch of rhinestones. Before they were intact, they were beautiful for a few years, and now it's like, you know, they started to lose all of their rhinestones or their Strauss crystals, and I do have 2 brooches. So I thought about doing them, and I love them. I think that they're really fun. They are a tad bit on the, they are quite pricey. And when it comes to designer costume jewelry, some of them don't hold up as well. Obviously, you can see that I'm missing quite a few stones on there. And, you know, some of them hold up a little bit better. So I can't say no to them. Even with the wear that I've gotten on here, you know, and most people would say once that starts to happen, I'm not going to buy them. But even with that happening, I still look at them. I still want to add a lot more to my collection, you know, but it's something that you have to just put in the back of your mind, that if you are to get them, if you do get some that have the Strauss crystals, they have a tendency that they might end up losing the stones. So if you're not okay with that, then I don't recommend getting some with the Strauss crystal. You can get some that are enamel, or you can get some that are leather, kind of like these down here. But obviously you guys know I am a magpie, so I do love the crystals. But just keep that in the back of your mind. So again, let me know if you guys want me to do a Are They Worth It? I don't know. I don't know. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. So let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, Louis 1228. I'm 5'2" and 115 pounds. I had the classic Speedy 35 and now wanting the bandolier version in a smaller size. Would you recommend the 25 or the 30? This is a great question. I think that you are very, very petite, and I think that the 25 or the 30 would look great on your silhouette. I feel that the 25 might look... I think both, to be honest. I think both. I was going to say that the 25 might look more proportionate, but no. I feel that the 30 is just as great. Definitely the 35 I feel is a little too large. But if it were me, if I had your measurements, I would go for the 25. I just feel that it maybe suits the body frame a little bit better than the 30. But regardless, either one I think would be fantastic. But good luck, and let us know which one you end up getting. Okay, G. Garelli. I need some advice. I started saving for my first luxury bag. So the question is, would you save up until you have enough to purchase your holy grail bag, even if it takes a long time, or start with your second or third bag on your wish list? My holy grail is the Chanel medium large classic flap, but I also really want a Speedy B25 or an Alma BB. You always give such an honest opinion, so I would be thrilled to hear what you think. This is another fantastic question. You guys are awesome. Awesome. You know, when it comes to holy grails, I wish I would have, I really wish I would have gotten the one that, like what we just talked about, my Speedy multicolor a long time ago. I would have gotten it for a lot less than what I ended up paying for it. But when it comes to Holy Grails, I feel that you want to, it's so hard, right? You want to keep your eyes on the prize, but it's so easy to get distracted, especially with the price tag that Chanel's have. And because of the price tag that Chanel's have, because of their price increases, I would strongly suggest keeping on the same track and going towards that Holy Grail. Because if you end up getting the Speedy B, if you end up getting the Alma, you know, let's say it takes a year to be able, a year longer than it would have to be able to get that medium large, then there's a possibility that you have 2 price increases or maybe 1 price increase. So it goes from $4,900 to $5,500 or $5,400, you know, and then it just keeps growing. So the sooner that you can get your Holy Grail items, the better. You avoid the price increases, as I said before. And if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you guys know that in the beginning I told you guys I used to have Chanel handbags. I used to buy them and I never used them. I was terrified to use them, and I ended up selling them. And I really, you know, to a certain extent, I really wish I would have been able to keep them, because I would have saved a lot more money than, you know, than what I've spent on some of the handbags that I do have. And another thing is that I feel that the Speedy Bandolier 25 is a classic to the Louis Vuitton fashion house, so it will always be there. Plus, the price increase won't be as high on the Louis Vuitton as it would be on the Chanel. So I strongly suggest, you know, keeping your eyes on the price. I know it's so hard. It's so easy to get, you know, especially when you have that amount, you're like, oh, I can get this bag. But if you really want to go for a brand new Chanel medium large, then I would definitely just keep on track, you know, or unless you want to buy pre-loved, then I would still get the pre-loved first, because as the pricing increases go for the newer ones, the pre-loved ones tend to go up in price as well. But the Alma BB, I feel, is a staple piece for the fashion house, as well as the Speedy 25 Bandolier. So again, the price increases won't be as crazy high on those as it would be on the Chanel. So I would stick to the Chanel, definitely. Oh man, can you imagine? Especially because I think someone told me that in 2009, was it, or 2007, the medium large was $2,700. I could be wrong, but don't quote me on it. But $2,700. It is $4,900 now. That's insane. I really wish I would have kept it. All right, next question. Aisha Allure. Recently, I was out with one of my close friends for lunch. She said that she really liked my Louis Vuitton Capucine and said that she'll borrow it from me for some party. Frankly, she is not at all careful with her bag and is capable of dropping anything on these beauties. What shall I do? Shall I bluntly refuse her? That would be rude. Or shall I give it? It's a very expensive bag. Totally stuck, Minnie. Please help. This is a phenomenal question, and I think most of us have been there at one point. Okay, so there's a few different ways that I feel about this. With my close friends, some of them are not careful with their handbags at all either. Some of them are very they're so careless, it drives me crazy. And when I am with my close friends, I have the type of relationship that I can say, you are crazy. I am not letting you borrow this bag. You know, and it's kind of, I'm not being rude, but I'm also saying it in a not a joking manner, but in a light, you know, there's a type of lightness to the way I'm saying it. You know, and I feel that when you have that close relationship, you're able to tell them bluntly yes or no, and without it being rude. But if you have the type of relationship that is a little bit more reserved to a certain extent, then I feel that no matter how you say it, it doesn't matter what type of tone you use, it doesn't matter what type of words you use, that other person, there's a chance that they'll get offended regardless of what you say, you know. And I don't know about you. I work really hard for my money. You know, I work really hard for my money, and I take care of my handbags, and I feel that if anyone is going to ruin the handbag, it's going to be me. You know what I mean? And not only that, let's say, God forbid, something happens to that handbag. It will end up straining your relationship because, you know, maybe you don't want to confront her and say, hey, you ruined this bag, now you owe me this type of money, or it has to be repaired. Or, you know, it might, who knows? If you have a great relationship with your friends, some of you might say, you know, I'm going to hand them my handbag, no problem. That's great. That's awesome. But some of my friends are just so careless, and there's no way in hell, to be honest, that I'm going to lend them my handbag, especially a Capucine, or, you know, if it was a jumbo or a medium large or anything, you know. And it is a tough predicament to be in. Obviously, you don't want to lose that relationship. You don't want to lose that friendship. You don't want to be rude. So there's a lot to be able to, you have to think about a lot. But in the end, I feel if you have that type of relationship with that friend, that they will definitely understand where you're coming from, you know, and they won't hold it against you. And if it's the type of person that's going to hold it against you, then do you really want that type of friendship in your life? You know what I mean? That they're not going to respect your wishes, or they're not going to respect your opinion on whatever's going on, and they're just going to get upset and just throw a hissy fit. Then, you know, that's where you really have to weigh in everything. But, I've said it to some of my girlfriends. I'm like, girl, you are crazy. There is no way, you know, and I'm laughing. And then they're like, come on, Minnie. I'm like, no, you treat your bags like crap. There's no way, you know, and I say it like that, and nothing else, it doesn't go past that. It doesn't go further, and we're still friends, you know, but it's very tricky. It definitely is. And, it's all a matter of what type of relationship you have. And remember, some people might get offended regardless, and at the end of the day, it's your handbag. It's your money that you spent on it, or whether it was a gift or whatever it was. So how comfortable would you feel if something was to happen to it? If you're okay with something happening to it and nothing's going to damage the friendship, then go for it. But if there's that doubt, if there is the slightest hint that something might happen to your handbag, and you're very, you know, and you're worried about it, then I wouldn't go for it. I wouldn't do it. No way. That's just my personal opinion. But, you know, I wish you the best of luck in whatever it is that you decide to do in this situation. It is very, very difficult. Okay, Patricia Fridas. I have a Louis Vuitton Neverfull GM in Damier for about a year now. I am very careful with my bags and change them out frequently. I noticed on one side of my strap to my handle a few cracks starting. I took to Louis Vuitton store, and they said that it's normal and that should happen throughout the handles. Does that sound right to you? I also had my glazing lift on my Emily wallet that's less than a year old, and they said that that was normal too, but they would repair it for me for free now, or I could wait until it got worse and have it repaired then. I, of course, sent it out. What are your thoughts? I'm a little disappointed. Another phenomenal question. Okay, so your Neverfull GM has a few cracks in it. Now, I have a question. Is it the type of cracks that are just kind of, that you can see that they're opening up into the leather, or is it the wrinkling? Because the Damier, because of the treated leather, it does tend to wrinkle. So I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe not, since this one's it's almost like in pristine condition. But usually when it comes to the Neverfull, because you have such a very thin strip of leather over the canvas, this tends to kind of wrinkle a little bit more, and you'll be able to notice it. And I actually brought out my my Damier bend strap for my key ball, because you can definitely see it. You see that right there? So it's not cracking, but it's wrinkling. You can see, because of the coating that the Damier bend has, it is so noticeable. And I've only used this, no, I actually used it quite a bit, but still you can see that it's starting to wear a little bit more right there. And it is very, very, very normal for that to happen. But if there is a crack where the leather is actually splitting, then no, that is not normal. And that is definitely something that needs to be repaired as soon as possible. Okay, now let's talk about the Emily. So it's less than a year old, and you already have, it sounds like, some varnish problems on the side. That's exactly what happened to my Damier Ben Josephine. I think I had the wallet for, I think it was 6 months, 8 months. I don't remember, to be honest. And it started to lift on the side. And when I took it to Louis Vuitton, they told me the exact same thing. She said, you can either get it repaired now or wait till it gets worse, and then you can get it repaired in a few months. You still have time because it's within the year. That's exactly what she told me. And of course I sent it out right away, because I asked her, and she could, you know, Some of you might think I'm a total bitch for saying this, you know, or that I'm maybe being a snobby, snooty person. I don't know. But I asked her flat out. I said, why would I want it to get worse so that it ends up getting into the canvas and then you guys don't end up doing anything and you can't repair it? She told me nothing. She didn't respond to me in the sense, she didn't make me feel better by saying, oh, this is why we suggest doing it. This is why we suggest doing that. She didn't say anything. She said, well, no. And she just smiled. She just smiled. So that right there, to me, sometimes I feel that, what's it called? That silence speaks volumes. And when you can't tell me why it is that I should wait a few months till it gets worse, that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It doesn't make me feel confident about making that decision, about wanting to wait. So I sent it out right away. And remember, I told you guys that it's not like I go in there being a total B. No. But we had already had a rocky relationship because I was having so many repair problems throughout this process. And, you know, I felt that after the 2 repairs that I had, I felt that they might be, I thought they were going to tell me something different. I thought they were going to put me at ease and again tell me why it is that I should wait a few months, but they didn't. You know, and I'm glad you sent it in, but that really bummed me out. It really left a bad taste in my mouth because, you know, I was expecting something completely different. I was expecting a great explanation as to why, and the fact that I didn't get it, the fact that I just got a giggle out of it really upset me. And I thought that was poor customer service, you know, but at least she didn't lie to me. At least she didn't lie to me. So that was good, you know, but I don't want you guys thinking that, again, like I talked about in my last video, that I'm just sitting here harping on Louis Vuitton. Not at all. I'm just giving you guys, you know, some feedback on what I have gone through. So hopefully you guys can avoid it in the future, you know, but yeah. I'm glad you got it fixed, or I'm glad you had it sent out, but I've had the same thing happen. Same thing. Okay, next question from Miss Kate. Please can you address the topic of Chanel bags, especially the jumbo being made in Italy versus made in France? I am thinking to buy a jumbo, but each time I go in to get one, it's made in Italy. I really want one made in France. Do you think there is a difference? I know quality is the same, but what about resale and the Chanel bag being a French house being made in Italy? Okay, this is a great question. And I've actually had a few people direct message me on Instagram asking me the same thing. And it's kind of, you know, I don't feel it's the same thing, kind of like what we talk about with Louis Vuitton. With Louis Vuitton, obviously you have it made in the US, in Italy, in Spain, and obviously in France. And I feel that being a France snob myself, sometimes I feel that the ones made in France tend to sell a lot faster than the other ones, yet they sell. But when it comes to Chanel, I remember when I was looking at my jumbo, I asked my sales associate, you know, why it is that, you know, the medium large is made in France and the jumbo is made in Italy. And he said that they always go for the country that has the best leather at that time for that specific handbag. So he said that because the jumbo is a little bit larger than the medium large, than the minis and the rectangulars and stuff like that, then he said that they end up going for Italy because they have a little bit better quality for their jumbos. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know. That's what he told me. You know, so that kind of made me feel a little bit better, you know, thinking that they're going for the bags that have the highest leather to be able to make them in that type of silhouette. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, so does that mean that the medium large doesn't have the best leather because it's made in France? You know, and I was just thinking that. I didn't say that, but that's just what I was told. And I feel that when it comes to Chanel, I don't personally, from what I've experienced with the resale aspect of it, I don't feel it's as much of an issue whether it's made in Italy or made in France, as it would be with Louis Vuitton made in France versus made in the US, if that makes any sense. So my jumbo is made in Italy, my medium large is made in France, and I think my La Boy bag is made in Italy as well. I think both of my GSTs are made in Italy too. So it's all a matter of personal preference. Personally, it doesn't bother me at all that they're made in Italy, again, because I know that they still hold their resale value just as well as the France ones do. So I would go for it, and you know, it's whatever makes your heart sing. If you are dead set on getting a France one, then you can wait until they come in, or, you know, either way, I would go for the Italy one myself, especially because you've been able to get one and they're so hard to find. And we arrive at the last question, and of course, my neighbors are going at it with a chainsaw. I don't understand. I think there's a light that flashes in my room that says I'm filming. Please make noise. Okay, so last question from Johnny Cage. For a couple of years, I'm debating whether to get the Louis Vuitton Cardiff scarf in gray color. I find it extremely beautiful and it makes my heart sing every time I see it. However, my main concern is how it will wear over time. The material of it, which is made of 75% lamb's wool and 25% Angora. I have heard people say that just after a couple of wears, it already started to pill. Personally, I don't mind the pilling, but do you think that over time the material will get rougher and start to cause itching? Will the blend of lamb's wool and Angora stand the test of time? This is a great question. And when I think of lamb's wool and Angora, when I think of that blend, I think that it's probably the closest to cashmere. And I feel that even though it might have the pilling, that because you have the Angora, that it will get, obviously it'll get softer over time, and I don't think it will get as itchy. I don't think it will be, you know, obviously when it comes to wool, you always think of how itchy it can get over time, but again, because of the Angora, I don't feel that you'll have that issue, you know, and I think it's a beautiful, beautiful scarf, my goodness. So I suggest going for it, especially since you said that you don't mind the pilling if it does tend to have that. I think it's a phenomenal blend, and it's such a great, I love the way that it feels, so I strongly say go for it. However, if any of you know a little bit more about the Angora and the lamb's wool blend, please let us know in the comment section down below. That way we can give Johnny as much information as possible. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys had some phenomenal questions this week. I loved it. And I will see you all tomorrow with a review on the Chanel O case. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.